This video is brought to you by Sailrite. Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions.
In this video, we'll show you how to make the seat and backrest for your director's chair using Sunbrella Marine Grade fabric from Sailrite.
Hi, I'm Eric Grant with Sailrite, and today we're going to redo the fabric on this director's chair, and we're going to show you how to do it. And we're going to use Sunbrella Marine Grade fabric from Sailrite.
Let's get started. We'll first start with the seat back.
In some situations, you'll find your fabric is in good enough condition that you can use it as a pattern like this on the backrest. But here on the seat bottom, this is typically what happens to a director's chair. These fold back, and usually there's a stick or sometimes it's a square peg. This fabric is not a premium fabric, and because of that, you can see the fading that took place. There's the probably close to original color, and here's the color that was left after being out in the sun. This part was protected by this wood part that covered it, so it was protected from the sun. So if you use a Sunbrella fabric from Sailrite, you will hardly get any fading at all. Okay, we have our chair here, and what we want to do is measure for the backrest. Now we could measure following the old one, but we did a little bit of repair to these so that we had these standing vertical, a little bit of woodworking, which Sailrite doesn't do, so we're not going to show that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the middle position now that these are vertical. So basically my tape measure is in the middle of this wood, and I'm also in the middle position of the post. Now the issue here is that I want to put these under some tension here, because you can see they flex inward. So the fabric we want to be taut. So I'm going to press against the posts and take a measurement. And what I get is 21 3/4 to the middle of this post. 21 3/4. However, we need to consider the pocket. Now on the old one, this has already been torn apart here. If we measure to where it was stitched, we measure and we get 2.5 inches. Okay, their stitch line is here, so they had 2 1/4 inches from the stitch line. But if you look on the back side here, there's a 1/4 inch hem here, not very big. We're going to do a 1/2 inch hem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pocket that is a little bit bigger than this for our 1/2 inch hem. So I'm going to make it 3 1/8. So I need to add 3 1/8 on both sides. Now I add these together. Now for the height here, they have about 6 1/2. I can go a little bit bigger if I want, but again, they have a 1/4 inch hem. I'm going to make a 1/2 inch hem. So my overall height, I'm going to say I want it to be 7 inches because it didn't fill the complete post. From here to here, the backrest came to here. Why not go and make it a little bit bigger? So 7 inches plus a 1/2 inch plus a 1/2 inch is 8 inches. So what we have here for our chair is 8 by 28, and that is the cut size, not the finish size. I'm going to put our tempered glass underneath here, and we're going to use a hot knife to cut this. The advantage of using a hot knife is that it seals the edges of the Sunbrella fabric to keep it from unraveling. And then you don't have to necessarily do double hems everywhere. So this cuts and seals the Sunbrella, which is 100% acrylic fabric. So it's exceptionally very resistant to the sun and also very resistant to chemicals. And the marine grade fabric will hold up for years compared to any other cheap fabrics that usually come with these chairs. So cutting on this tempered glass that's available from Sailrite makes a beautiful cut, and all the heat is transferred to the fabric, and it doesn't damage your tabletop surface. Okay, we have it cut to size. We're going to fold it and find the middle here and put a little score on the fold here and here. So now that we found the center, I've turned it over to show the marks, and we want to, the measurement we took on the chair is 21 3/4. That's from post to post in the middle position. We divide that in half and we get 10.87. 10 7/8. We're going to measure not at the top edge, but a little bit down by a few inches. 10 7/8, and now that we have both ends marked, if you'd like, you can strike a soft line with my chalk pencil right through those marks. Now I'm going to take a little bit off of the corners, so I'm going to measure down about 3/4 inches and put a mark here, and then I'm going to measure over about 2.5 inches and put a mark here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this corner from mark to mark. And we'll do it on this corner as well. I think I came in, what did I come in? 2.5. So 2.5 and 3/4. Okay. So why are we doing that? Well, we don't want this hem here to lay on top of this hem, just too much bulk. So we're just basically making slight curves here so that the hem falls on the inside. Okay, now we'll take this and we'll fold it in half yet again. And we'll cut the corners off at the same time, cutting through both layers. That'll reduce some of the bulk. Okay, so this is the side that we marked with the lines indicating the finished side. So we want those down again. So now what we'll do is we'll place double-sided tape on both long edges. At the transition there, we'll create a fold in the double-sided tape. That's normal. And do the same to this edge down here. We go over the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler, and that helps the double-sided tape to stick well to the Sunbrella fabric. Now we'll peel off the transfer paper, and we're going to create a 1/2 inch hem here. Now I'm not going to measure this out. I'm going to just basically guess at the 1/2 inch hem. If you'd like to measure it, you'd measure up 1 inch, strike a line, and then fold the edge of the fabric over to that 1 inch line, and that creates a single 1/2 inch hem. Now at the transition here, you can either fold the fabric back like this, or you can cut a slit. I'm just going to fold it back like that. And then we'll use the canvas patterning ruler, put my finger on the metal portion. It is an acrylic ruler, so if you put your finger here, you could break it. Put it on the metal and you won't break it at all. And we'll do the same thing to this long edge. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew down each long leg, and we will start sewing here and do a little bit of reversing. And at the end we'll do some reversing here as well. We'll do the same thing to the other long side. Okay, we'll put a little bit of seam stick on the edge here. Now we'll peel off the transfer paper, and we're going to create a 1/2 inch hem here. We'll put double-sided tape on top of that single hem on both sides. And then we'll peel off the transfer paper. And we will fold to that mark on the outside. I'm going to put it so you can see it better in the camera. Not the perfect place for me, but good for you. So there's our mark. We folded directly on top of that mark. Baste it down well. You can crease it here too with this Sailrite canvas patterning ruler, and do the same with this side. All right, so now we will start sewing with a single stitch about 1/8 inch away from that fold. So we'll do some reversing here. It's okay to sew off of it by 1 or 2 stitches if you'd like to. Okay, sew down the leg. And there we go. Now we'll do the same thing with this side.
Up next, the seat bottom.
And then what we have for this measurement, this is a fairly safe measurement. Our finished is 15.5 inches here. If we come to the chair and we start looking at it, if we measure from the middle of the opening here to the middle of the opening here, we get 19 inches, okay? So that's with the chair in its locked position, 19 inches. So now take a look at our dowel. Our dowel, and dowel sizes can vary, measures 1/8 inch. You see that there? So what we want to do is 19 inches from middle to middle, and we need to add 1/8 inch on each side, so 19.25 inches is our finished size for our seat. The depth, it's 15.5 inches, so our finished size will be about 15.5. It can be a little bit bigger and actually go over the edges slightly, but right there is 15.5. So 15.75 I think will be safe. That way the fabric is not too small. So if I move my tape forward a little bit, it will have a little bit extra on the front and a little bit extra on the back. 15.75 is our finished size. Now this seat has a 1/4 inch hem, single hem here. You measure it's 1/4 inch. We're going to put a 1/2 inch single hem here along the forward edge and a 1/2 inch single hem here along the back edge. On the sides, what they did is they have a single hem for the sides for the dowel, and it measures 3/4 inch. We're going to go with 1 inch here. So we're going to add 1 inch here and 1 inch here for the sides. That's 2 inches. So 19.25, 20, so it's 21.25 inches is our cut size, and 1 inch, because we're doing a 1/2 inch here, so this would be 16.75 for our cut size. That's for the seat. This is a side, this is a side, this is the front, this is the back. It could be reversed. So back, front, side, side. We want a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, 1/2 inch seam allowance here. That's the first step on the front and the back. If you do it the opposite way, if you put the hem on the sides, then you're going to have a problem getting the dowel in. This is the only way to get the dowel in. So double-sided tape on the front and the back.
The Sunbrella Marine Grade fabric was cut in the same manner that we showed earlier when we cut the seat back with the hot knife.
Now we'll create a single 1/2 inch hem. Boom it. So here I'm creating a 1/2 inch hem. And we'll crease it well. Same thing here. Okay. Now we want to sew down both these back sides and front sides with a straight stitch. And I'm going to use the outside presser foot as my guide here. Again, we're going to do a little bit of reversing at the beginning and the end to lock our stitch in place. So this is the side and this is the other side. So we wanted to create a 1-inch hem here. We added an extra inch. So I'm going to measure over 2 inches, and I'm actually going to strike a line here because we want this to be very accurate. So that's a line 2 inches over from that side. And then we also want to line 2 inches over from this side. So we struck a line there. Then we'll go ahead and use our double-sided tape and place it on this edge. And we will fold over to that line. This is a factory sealed edge here. This is not hot knifed, but that factory sealed edge will stay nice and true and it doesn't unravel. Then over here we have a hot knifed edge. A synthetic fabric like Sunbrella cuts very well with a hot knife. And we fold this over to that line that we struck on the fabric. I'm going to take my dowel and I'm going to put it right up against this edge here because we want that stitch fairly close to that dowel, but we want enough room that we can get the dowel in too. So my chalk's going to put a line a little bit outside the edge of the dowel here. So right like that. So if I put my stitch there, I should have plenty of room because I want that stitch fairly close. So what is that measurement? Let's see what it is. It is a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and strike a line, a faint line, that is a 1/2 inch, like that. And we'll do that on the other side. That'll be our stitch line. So now we'll put our sewing machine right on that stitch line, or that mark that we made, and we will sew a straight stitch, reversing again. I'm going to reverse several times here because we want to make sure this stays in place. Sew down the length. And when you get to this side, make sure you do some reversing as well. And do the same for the opposite side. Now we insert the seat bottom. And you don't want to run it all the way through, and it's good to release some tension because this will be fairly tight here. So while it's loose, it's really easy to put it on. There we go. Now it's on the ends. Now I can lock it. Whoa, I gotta do that from the front. It's tight. Bam, love it. These go back up. So now we can put our backrest on. This will be a snug fit. Don't push it all the way down until you get both sides on. And it is a good idea to have a second helper to kind of push this one in, but I think we can do this without that second helper. Screwdriver can sometimes help to get the fabric over the corners. Right about there. Right about there. Now, she's done. Now, if I were small enough, I'd sit in that, but I'm not, so I'm gonna have my cameraman sit in it. Seth. Go ahead, Seth. Yeah. Pretty nice, eh?
Yeah.
You'll notice there's some wrinkles in the backrest where we had to push the fabric onto the posts. Those wrinkles can easily be removed by using a steamer like this. So we're heating up the Sunbrella fabric, which will help to remove those wrinkles and give the chair a less wrinkled appearance on the backrest. This is typically not required, and typically if you leave the chair out in the sun for a while, the fabric will relax and those wrinkles will disappear on their own. But if you want to remove them right away, the steamer works great, as you can see. A director's chair can vary in style and also size, but the principles for constructing your own fabric replacement panels are exactly the same as what we showed in this video. We recommend that you use Sunbrella Marine Grade fabric for your director's chair. Sailrite carries hundreds of great looking Sunbrella fabrics, including stripes. Check them out at the Sailrite website and then make your own. Here's a list of the materials and the tools that we used to make this director's chair seat back and seat bottom. You can order the Sunbrella Marine Grade fabric at Sailrite. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or email us. We're glad to help. I'm Eric Grant, and from all of us here at Sailrite, thanks for watching.